Okay, in this video I've just brought in a simplistic female human mesh. Just want to play with some of the transparency settings and show you the subsurface scattering. It's just got a soft touch material at the moment. Again, it's just drag and drop. I just drop a simplistic diamond material onto the eyes. Okay. If we use the human skin, drag it onto the surface. Human skin 2. Double click the material. We get some options to change it. This human skin material already comes in with a color map and a bump map, which you can adjust infinitely. We'd like to try and apply our own texture map. Just varying the surface. The model we brought in is incredibly smooth, so we may well use that bump map. Okay, we want to see some subsurface scattering coming through. And I think up the translucency, specularity is on quite high. You can already see it coming through on the fast preview render on the lips. Here we are, just picking up some complementary greens, which is the natural colour spectrum from the pinks and the flesh. If we go to an environment and rotate it, we'll just try and get some harsh lighting from the back of the model. Let it do its updated preview render. We're getting some subsurface scattering coming through on the ears. But again, we'd like to bring in our own texture map. And then we try and we'll just turn off that colour map there. And we'll click it to bring in our female head. The mapping tool option is there. We just go into box map, UV coordinates. And it took me so long to try and work this one out. The way around it is to not bring it in through this palette. It's to bring it in from the library, drag it to the surface, then pick the UV tool. So I'll show you. There we go. Now the bump map's still working. Play with the scale of the bumps. It's actually affecting the UV coordinates. So again, it's reverted back to its colour map from the human skin. There we go. That's better. Turn the bump map off. What I've learned from this is, if you're going to try and apply a colour map to the human skin material, only apply paint where you want the paint to sit on the surface, like the lips or the cheeks, or if you're doing a female character, the makeup. This is a wash with colour information, and it's killing the subsurface scattering effect. Just try a quick render of this. Again, I will pause and start again. So to reiterate, only bring in a colour map with the colour information that you want to sit on the surface of the human skin material. Some of the other materials work fine. Like I mentioned, there's a white wax material that's incredibly effective for producing semi-translucent plastic effects. But used in conjunction with a subtle colour map, you could get a really good human skin. Now we're just catching some subsurface scattering coming through. It's just not as effective as we want it to be. But we might just play with the available material in KeyShot and see what we can do. So again, drag it to the surface. Keep this bump map. And just do a render of the KeyShot material. It's not as extreme as I'd like. I think we need a more harsh light setup to fully appreciate the subsurface scattering. It is starting to come through there. So, let's go to our environments and maybe pick a studio environment, which can be quite harsh. Try and go for a slight backlit look. crank up the brightness. And we're starting to see on the preview window that the subsurface scattering is working. Quick render. Notice there we're getting some nice subsurface scattering transitions there. Just where you'd expect to see them as well. So just close this palette. It's just hanging onto the render. So what we think we need to do is experiment with a couple more translucent materials and see what we get. As I say, at the end of the palette there is this white wax. This we can apply our texture map to. Just waiting for KeyShot to settle. Just bring that in again. There we go. We're getting the look of a mannequin as it's produced in plastic. Quick render of this just to show you the subsurface scattering that comes through. It's not as effective as the human skin one, but it's still usable. There we go. You can immediately see on the ear there is an opacity to that texture map as well now. So the key is just bring in as much colour information as you need to if you're using the human skin material. Okay, again, all these files, we'll save all these files out for you. This human head. But just experiment as well. I've had some incredible graphic effects using things like this, where you can make an exterior of a collection of OBJs transparent. It's great for medical illustration. I think in the next video, I want to bring in a couple of tyrannosaurs, and we'll try and set up a really nice render of a pair of hunting T-Rexes. Should be fun.